For this one, I'd like to respond to the term economic science, because I'm a scientist by background. My background is PhD in atomic physics and quantum physics. So the idea of economics being a science, I think, is something that's really interesting to reflect on. Because I think even in my own sort of journey through science and through life, the idea of scientism, that science is something that gives you an ultimate truth, that allows black and white thinking, that is focused very much on what can be measured, and prioritizes and valorizes what can be measured to the exclusion or devaluations of things which can't. And then the whole idea of objective reality. So those are all things that are being questioned, and certainly, going back to Niels Bohr and quantum mechanics, those were questioned a century ago already, about the objective sort of nature of science. That doesn't undermine the truth of what we find in science, but it does put it in perspective in terms of the role of science playing a role in knowledge generation that isn't the only means of gaining knowledge. So those are reflections to begin with on science. And if you come then to economic science, I think economics has very much taken on board the mantle of a science that has objective knowledge, that gives black and white thinking, and so forth. And I think that has been dangerous. I think economics is much more somewhere in the middle ground between objective measurement and, as I say, dealing with issues of power and inequality, being enmeshed very much in politics and other gender, other types of issues within society. And I think it's very questionable to use the term economic science. Of course, what used to be talked about was political economy, which recognized the fundamental political nature of economic debate, the fundamental rooting of economic thinking within issues of power and inequality, of justifying inequality, what types of inequalities are justified, and so forth. So I would question, and I think that is one of the issues when we come to, does the existing system deserve to continue? I think that underpinning of claiming absolute truth and of claiming objective reality, quite apart from all of the other social systems, such as I say, as politics and gender and so on, technology and so on, I think that's highly problematic. I think for the term economic engineering, that's an interesting term too, because again, we're taking the language of engineering as being objective, and again, something that is based in measurement and science and so forth. And again, that's questionable. And I think when it comes to the term economic engineering, I think this has been interesting from the discussions within Nike. Engineering conjures up images of building something, of designing and building. Whereas I think an awful lot of policy making and economics at the moment is about trying to retain an existing structure. It's much less about engineering than it is about system maintenance or system restoration. And again, I think given the problems that we're facing in terms of climate change, given the knowledge that we've gained in terms of alternative framings for economics, feminist economics, for example, I think the idea that we can maintain an economic system in equilibrium with the scale of the changes that are happening in the environment around us, I think is untenable. So economic engineering, great. I would applaud the term if it was applied to how do we re-engineer the structures that we currently have? How do we rethink the ideas that underpin it? But I think much more of that is needed to justify the term economic engineering for current policy making.